Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into something totally fascinating today. We are completely skipping the usual marketing buzzwords to do a deep dive into the hidden psychological systems that literally keep us hooked on our favorite brands. We're getting into the real nuts and bolts of why we buy what we buy.
Picture this. Think about a brand you just keep going back to. Maybe it's that neighborhood cafe where the barista knows your exact order before you even walk up to the counter. Or honestly, maybe it's the smartphone sitting right next to you. Ask yourself, is it really just the product? Is it just the roasted coffee beans or the silicon microchips? Well, as we're going to see, the tech or the taste is only a tiny fraction of the whole story. Because here is the real game changer. Brands aren't just things people buy, they are meanings people adopt. You know, we absolutely love to tell ourselves that we make these purely rational choices based on price or features, but the reality? We almost always choose the option that fits the story we tell about ourselves. A brand literally stops being just an object on a shelf and turns into a signal. It says, hey, this is me.
Underneath that simple act of buying something over and over again, there are three incredibly powerful, completely invisible forces at work: trust, identity, and memory. If even one of these is weak, your loyalty gets pretty fragile. But when all three lock together, they create a bond that is exceptionally hard to break. Let's break those down.
First up, we have trust. Think of trust like a really sturdy chair. You don't sit down and admire the chair's personality, right? You just expect it to hold you up without collapsing. Brands work the exact same way. Think about your everyday toothpaste. You do not want surprises from your toothpaste in the morning. You want absolute, rock-solid dependability. And that dependability lowers the mental cost of making a choice.
But how do we get from just being reliable to being deeply personal? Well, that is where identity comes in. Identity is kind of like a school uniform. Certain brands act as this silent social language, signaling to the world exactly who you are or maybe who you want to be. And this is exactly why switching brands can feel so strangely uncomfortable. It literally feels like you're changing a piece of yourself. Then we hit the third foundational force: memory. Picture memory as this massive stack of mental receipts. Every single time a brand works, or makes you feel good, or saves you a massive headache, you get a brand new mental receipt. Over time, this towering stack builds up your confidence, and it actively fights off newer, flashier competitors. A new option doesn't just have to catch your eye. It has to battle against all your stored, positive experiences.
Now, we need to clear up a massive misconception. Repetition and loyalty, they are not the same thing. Not at all. Repetition is just a habit. It's based on finding the cheapest price or pure convenience. True loyalty, though, is an invisible relationship where the brand actually retains your absolute trust. The big difference here is that relationships can survive inconvenience. Simple habits usually don't survive a roadblock.
So you can picture true loyalty as a bridge held up by those three structural supports: trust, identity, and memory. If a brand suddenly becomes less reliable or loses its meaning, one of those supports starts to crack. The bridge might still stand for a little while, but it gets pretty shaky. And if all three weaken, people just stop crossing. Loyalty rarely goes out in some dramatic, fiery explosion. It usually just quietly fades away. Of course, not every single product out there invites this kind of intense loyalty. I mean, you probably aren't passionately defending your specific brand of table salt. The strongest loyalty happens with items that involve frequent use, high visibility, and real social meaning. Objects like your smartphone or a high-end jacket, they carry some heavy identity weight. They act a lot like the clothes you wear to meet people. So how does a totally private, practical choice escalate into a shared social code? It happens in 5 distinct steps. We start at use. Does it work? Then we move to preference. Do I actually like it? Step 3 makes it personal. Identity. Does this fit me? Then we get social with belonging. Do other people like it? Up until we reach the absolute pinnacle, tribe. Are we the same kind of people? Which brings us to the core concept here, the brand tribe. A tribe is a group of people sharing a common brand meaning, an identity signal, and a really sharp boundary between us and not us. People constantly mistake a brand tribe for just being a loud social media fan club, but it is way deeper than that. It's when people use a brand to recognize each other out in the wild. And the social logic behind this is absolutely fascinating. People don't just consume products, we consume signals. A brand acts like a soft badge, projecting silent messages to the world. It says things like, I care about quality, or I value design, or I am part of this specific culture. And honestly, just as importantly, it says, I am not part of that other culture.
We use these signals to find others who are saying the exact same thing without speaking a single word.
This totally explains why people defend brands with so much passion. Have you ever wondered about that? It's because they are actually defending themselves. When a brand gets tied up in your identity, you don't hear criticism as just a neutral product review. Critiquing the brand feels like a direct personal insult to your taste, your judgment, and the specific group you belong to.
So what acts as the social glue holding these tribes together? Think of it like building a room with 4 walls: consistency, visibility, exclusivity, and narrative. If a brand keeps acting like itself, stays publicly visible, feels just a little bit exclusive, and tells a compelling story, boom, it builds a room. These walls create the inside jokes and shared rituals that make members feel safely enclosed in something special.
Tribes take normal loyalty and totally amplify it through a feedback loop of social belonging. Take a smartphone community in Pakistan, for example. The owners might constantly bond over camera quality, but the conversation is never really just technical. When others around you value the exact same brand, it validates your choice, and that makes your own identity feel even stronger.
But we definitely have to look at the flip side here. This tribal strength comes with a very specific fragility. The danger inside the tribe is what we call a meaning mismatch. Because the brand is now part of a group identity, any mistake the brand makes is symbolic, not just operational. A buggy software update? Sure, that can be forgiven. But a betrayal of the brand's core meaning, the tribe will feel that as a deep personal loss. If they don't recognize the brand anymore, they're going to leave, and they will leave suddenly.
Taking a step back to look at the whole system, we've just done a complete zoom out of consumer behavior. It starts at function, moves to meaning, and ultimately lands at belonging. By understanding these 3 layers, you can look completely past all the marketing buzzwords and actually read the hidden social systems operating right beneath the surface of our everyday purchases.
If you want one clean, memorable statement to hold on to from this entire explainer, it is this: a brand tribe forms when a repeated choice becomes a shared identity. That one sentence captures the whole incredible journey, from a single practical purchase at the store all the way to a powerful, emotionally charged social phenomenon.
So, as we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a thought. The next time you see a massive brand campaign, or hey, the next time you find yourself getting strangely defensive over your own favorite product, look past the features. Ask yourself, what meaning is this brand promising, and who is it helping people become? Answer that, and you'll understand exactly how the modern world works. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I really hope it completely changed how you look at the brands in your life.